Welcome to the Indie Music Room, a conversation with independent artists about writing, recording, performing, and promoting their original music. And now here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Heather Kelly with the Indie Music Room, and I have a very special guest this evening that I cannot wait to interview. I've met him. I don't know everything about his background, so we're going to delve into that tonight, but let's welcome Scott Dorman from Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Scott. How are we doing tonight?
Well, hello, Heather. I am doing well. I blew in on the winds out there tonight. It's a windy night, and I'm happy to be here in Otho at Junior's Motel.
Yes. I know it's been forever, right? Here we are social distancing, doing our interview, but yes. We tried a couple goes on the Zoom thing, and that didn't work out so well, so I said, you know what? I like to have you in studio if possible. So
I'm glad to be here. It's so good to be back here.
All right, thank you.
Feels like home.
Yeah, it does. And again, we want to thank Kurt Kaufman because we're doing this out at Junior's Motel Recording Studio. Appreciate all of his efforts going into these interviews. So I want everyone to get to know Scott. Sometimes, I interview people and they say, where do I start? And I say, from the beginning. So Scott, tell me where you're from originally and tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Okay. Hey, well, I'm not going to go way back to the beginning, but I'll go far enough, I think. Yeah, I'm from Manson, big town of Manson, Iowa, not too far away from here. And graduated, was in the music department and drama department, things like that in high school, and went on to Iowa State. I took a great fun way through college. I think I went to 4 universities, colleges, and still graduated in 4 years. So I went to Iowa State for a year, I went to Iowa Central, I went to Buena Vista night classes here, and then I went to University of Northern Iowa, and I have a degree in marketing, but I always wanted to be a songwriter. And so...
Well, you're not...
Stupid.
What? No. You're not over... what's the word? Over exerting yourself. I mean, you are you're ambitious.
Well, I don't know. I guess...
That's really ambitious.
I don't know. Well, thank you. But I'll tell you what. At the time when I was in high school, of course, the Hawks came out with their couple of albums, and so I was aware of the studio here and always wanted to get involved. So I got a job. My first job out of college was in Fort Dodge, working for H.J. Heinz as a kind of a regional sales guy, or this territory, northwest Iowa, southern Minnesota. And I took some of the money that I made there and started to invest in my recording career right here at Junior's Motel. This was in the late 80s.
So when you say Heinz, you mean like...
Ketchup, baby food.
The Heinz ketchup? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, here we go.
The years that I was involved, we were trying to introduce, or the company was trying to introduce a product called instant baby food, which... that's crazy, right? It was like it came in little canisters.
Yes.
And you'd kind of pop them open like tennis balls, like how the tennis...
Yes.
It would go... And then you'd open it up, and it would be like fish flakes inside. Uh-huh. And you the mother was supposed to mix that with water, and then it would become this delicious paste that you could feed your children. But of course, that didn't really work that well when you could. Gerber's was right next to it.
Exactly, pre-made, prepackaged, right. Everything. So
anyway, but that was my experience. Honestly, that was mostly what I did when I worked for Heinz, was try to sell that product, and so fun stuff.
After Heinz, what'd you do?
Well, that was right at the time I started recording here, and I got involved with some other music kind of things around here. I started working at local radio here it was KRIT at the time, and then I worked at KKZ in Fort Dodge, Iowa for a while on air, and all the while was doing recording and songwriting and stuff out here as much as I could, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know Kirk has told me stories about you guys have worked together in the past, and you guys did some jingles, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was probably in relationship to working in radio and in my marketing and stuff, and, mm-hmm. You learn how to songwrite and be a musician by hanging around people like Kirk, and you try to marry the things that you the skills you have,
Right,
so
right. And
that's
then-
and we were trying to make some money. So
well, isn't every musician?
right.
But you
Everybody in the
also-
world,
yeah,
It's
exactly.
not just musicians, yeah.
But you had the means to record here, so you guys could you'd compile your ideas, record them, put them out there with your marketing skills and see what happened.
Yeah.
How long did you guys do that?
Man, I suppose we were doing it for 3, 4, 5 years, I think, probably. We did a lot of them, and we traveled. We'd take sales trips, to, I don't know, we went to Minneapolis a couple of times, and Des Moines, and it was, we had a lot of fun, and we, met a lot of great business people, and I suppose there's still some out there that are playing, jingles that we did, maybe not.
That's right.
But, yeah.
I have more to talk to you about certain things in your past, but
Great.
What I know, isn't everybody
Gulp.
just hang on? Here we go. I do want to say his first song that we're going to play, originally written by Scott Dorman, is called "One Thing." Anything to say about this song?
Well, it's kind of I kind of ripped the opening line off from a Bruce Springsteen song called "Thunder Road," and it's just this kind of more than anything, it's kind of a cool little story song, but it's really, I don't know. I had that ASCAP guy in Nashville tell me that about 3 lines in, I don't know what you're talking about, but but it's not like your standard dumb country song. It's kind of like gonna have to think about where the people are. You have to kind of think a little bit behind the lyrics and stuff to figure out what the song's about. It's about a relationship in trouble, but it's kind of set on the open prairie, maybe a farm porch not far from here.
Well, very cool. Here we go. We're going to listen to "One Thing" by Scott Dorman.
The screen door slams behind her as she storms out onto the porch. He said those damn 3 words again that lit her up like a torch. 'Cause he don't know the first thing about that. It's not what you say, it's what you do. Shows where your heart's at. And he don't do nothing at all. And that's another brick in the wall. When one thing comes in between, a second one comes right behind most times. And then it'll come 3, and then it'll come 4. Pretty soon you can't count no more. When one thing comes in between. She took one last drag on her lucky strike and put it out in the marigolds. She hears the phone ring, the dog bark, a big cloud of dust, the bus bringing the kids back home. And his hammer's pounding out back in the shed, but she don't even get the time to clear her head. Maybe it's nobody's fault, but that's another brick in the wall. When one thing comes in between, a second one comes right behind most times. And then it'll come 3, and then it'll come 4. Pretty soon you can't
was One Thing by Scott Dorman. Scott, that's a beautiful song. I love that song. That's
Well,
great.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a little drop D tuning. I don't know, for the musicians out there, you can...
I played violin. You can't just drop D a violin. So when you say that, I kind of nod and grin and go, okay, that's cool. But no, great song.
Thank you.
So one thing I wanted to bring up is, we are located in Otho, and you know that Norm, the guy that owned Otho Pub for years, has passed away now.
Yeah, sad and sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and it changed hands, but I was telling Kirk tonight, I've got an idea. I wonder if we could snag Scott over and get one more picture with this Kokotho Scott Dorman before they renovate the place. So we were talking about that. And then we had a gentleman come in here the other day that wanted a copy of Kokotho.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Kokotho. How'd that come about?
Well, that was kind of, there was a radio guy named Dave Halden that I worked with at KRIT in Fort Dodge, which was kind of the Super 97. It was kind of a, hits of the day or whatever. And honestly, I think it was his idea. The Beach Boys had this song Kokomo at the time, and it was just kind of I don't know, the lyrics were just kind of run on or whatever. They just brought up a bunch of different examples of things, and I don't know if he had heard that some other market had done this, another radio station somewhere or whatever, but we decided to rewrite the lyrics to that song and include a bunch of towns around Fort Dodge.
That's so fun.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, we probably came out here and did it in 1 or 2 nights with the drum machine and, cranked it out. So, and yeah, it got a lot of... got a lot of attention, so... It
sure did. People still ask us about it, and I do love this, but I love that they supported you, but they spelled your name wrong on the building, so that's why I want to get a picture.
Well, but they actually spelled it right, because I spell it wrong when I do my music thing,
because you go by a different spelling with your professional career.
Yes, because if you go there and you see all the H's and R's and N's and things that are extra in it, nobody can spell it. So I would go to gigs. I'd have a bar gig or something, and they'd have a sign outside, by the road or whatever, and my name was always misspelled. With the original spelling, so the old German way. So I tried to simplify it. That's what I tried to do. Yeah.
Well, again, we talked about this before, but I was struggling to try to find your music online, and it was because I didn't know how to spell your name, but what you go by is Dorman.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So Scott Dorman, Dorman.
Right. There used to be a 7 in it also. I used to
What?
I put a number in there for a while. That kind of threw some people off too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you've got another song here, and let me get my glasses on. It's called "The Rest of My Life." And I have heard this one already, so I'm just going to sit back and listen and enjoy. But any words about the rest of my life?
Well, again, it's kind of set in a small town. I actually envisioned, the main street of like Palmer, Iowa, or something like that when I wrote this. It's just, these little towns around here get so quiet on a summer night, and you can, you could just kind of go out on Main Street and dance right in the middle of Main Street if you wanted to with your significant other. So that's kind of what this is about.
Yeah, I really like this song. And it's funny you should say that. We're based out of Iowa, and as I'm looking behind you on the studio, on the acreage we live in, I can see all the lights from the windmills and the beautiful backdrop, and we are pretty blessed to live here. So
yes, the sunsets are amazing, the sky is amazing,
sunrises, everything's gorgeous. So having said that, we are going to check out Scott Dorman's next song, "The Rest of My Life."
Sometimes on a Friday night I go walking in the moonlight with my baby down the middle of Main Street. Every light in the town is down. No cars for miles around. All's quiet except for two heartbeats. And we're dancing, dancing, laughing, laughing. And I'm feeling everything I wanna feel for the rest of my life. Yeah, the rest of my life. We walk down to the water tower. I stop 10 steps up the ladder. Oh, she don't feel like climbing tonight, no. Across the street at the old gas station, Coke machine is right there waiting. We drink to this small town life, yeah. And we're dancing, dancing, laughing, laughing. I'm feeling everything I wanna feel. And we're dancing, dancing, laughing, laughing. I'm feeling everything I wanna feel for the rest of my life. Stars as they shine in the heavens, fall asleep in each other's arms in the chill right before the dawn. Wake up just in time to watch the sunrise. We're dancing, dancing, laughing, laughing. I'm feeling everything I wanna feel for the rest of my life. Dancing, dancing, laughing, laughing. And I'm feeling everything I wanna feel for the rest of my life.
That was The Rest of My Life by Scott Dorman. Scott, again, another beautiful song.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So tell me a little bit about your experiences in different studios.
Yeah, worked here a ton, right, before moving to Nashville. There was also a period of time when I lived in Minneapolis. This was in the early 90s, and I worked in a couple of studios up there. That was kind of the time when people started to build project studios, I think, and so you'd maybe go to some place, you know, some guy would have one in his basement or something. But I did get a chance to actually go and work for an afternoon in Paisley Park, so that was kind of fun. That's probably the biggest, most famous place I ever, by far, really. It's probably the most famous place on earth, next to Abbey Road, maybe. I don't know, but... Yeah,
no, I would love... I mean, I guess it's open to the public now. You can take tours or something, but I would have loved to work there. That's very cool. You got to do that.
We worked at, I worked with another guy from Minneapolis on a jingle, actually, at Paisley Park. And we were not in one of the big studios or one of the big rooms, but I did get to go in one and see it and look at it and stuff. But
how cool.
I've seen pictures since, and I don't recall it looking like that. So I don't know. It was just a long time ago, very early, I think, in the career. And then in Nashville, it's kind of the same thing. When I got there in the late 90s, there were still some big studios, but I wasn't doing anything that was budget, wise enough to do that. I've done a ton in the kind of studios that are in people's basements and, the back office of some place on Music Row, or there's a lot of little demo studios on Music Row, and there's, I did the last thing I did a few years back. We actually did it at a place called Studio 19, though, which was more of a well-known tracking room on Music Row. I think Waylon recorded some stuff there, and Alan Jackson, and it's it's a parking lot now, soon to be a condo, I'm sure.
Really?
So, yeah, they're tearing all of the studios down in Nashville.
That's sad. You know, when I went on my Hank Williams tour, Kirk and I actually stayed with you.
Yes.
Thank you. But you showed us the town a little bit, and back then it was hopping. But again, that was before COVID, where, you know, everything is different. And I suppose just the economy has made those buildings go away and disappear. And not only that, but everything is changing in the music industry, so record labels are no longer needed as much as, you know.
You are absolutely, you've hit it on the head in both cases. I mean, the real estate is worth more as a condo or something than it was as one of these old bungalow style houses that was there on Music Row. Plus, a lot of the music business has moved off of Music Row and is now somewhere else, in somebody's house or just an office somewhere or whatever, and people are doing their projects in homes or smaller studios that, you know, they just don't need the big tracking rooms and stuff like they used to have. So
I know it.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I tell you, the world's always changing.
Right. Now, I'll say this. I think that there is actually a movement back toward tracking rooms, though, and things where musicians can actually get together. And, you know, I have a friend that completed a space just maybe 18 months ago, and they're doing really well with like a kind of a more traditional studio setup with a room that you can kind of set the band up in, and you know, so I like that. I mean, I'd like to do more projects like that if I get a chance to, you know.
You know, Kirk's studio is still 2-inch analog tape here, and on occasion we get people calling and saying, "Aren't you Pro Tools yet? Aren't you digital?" And you know, we favor the warm sound of analog. We always have. That's how we did our albums and such. But people will call and they say, "Oh gosh, but the tape's so expensive."
Right.
You know, so it's like, well, if you're going to invest in it, get the tape, you can always go over it and keep it. But so it's one of those catch-22s, digital versus analog. It's always going to be a question.
Right. I'll say this. I think that where your brain goes when you're making music, it's a better place for creativity when you work on analog. It's not good for creativity when you're glued to a screen and you're looking at waveforms and clips and copy and paste and all that. It's just a different place for your brain. And I don't know. It's something that I've struggled with a little bit, I think.
I've recorded both ways, and I prefer analog because you almost, as you breathe, you can feel when to punch yourself in instead of a digital movement, you know? So I get you completely.
Yep.
So we've got a last song that we're going to play tonight of Scott's, and it's called Trampoline.
Yes. This song is a co-write with a guy that played bass with me in Nashville for years and years, Will Mandel. We actually had a long-standing gig on Monday nights at the Holiday Inn near the airport in Nashville, which if you're going to have a Holiday Inn gig, have it in Nashville. Because we actually had some, I can't even tell you, but we had some kind of well-known people that would stop by Monday night, mind you. There's nothing going on, really. So it was kind of a popular place with musicians. But anyway, I came in one night and I had this guitar, which you folks will hear soon, but it's just a guitar intro riff and kind of a melody idea. And then Will kind of heard this modulation that the song's in F and it goes to A minor or A flat on the chorus. So he kind of heard that modulation and took it there, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Well, it's a great song, everybody. Here is Trampoline by Scott Dorman.
Your sunshine, your midnight, your blue sky, your rain, your smile, the way it turns upside down with pleasure, your pain. It's all good most of the time. The highs and lows are part of your design. Your love is like a trampoline. Every time that you are near, I'm dancing in the stratosphere. Your love is like a trampoline. When I start to come back down, I wanna land safely in your arms, in your arms, in your arms, yeah. I was right here when you came along. Before I knew it, I was too far gone. Your love is addictive, I just can't say no. Loving you, baby, is like vertigo. On the edge, out of control. It's our turn to find the miracle. Your love is like a trampoline. Every time that you are near, dancing in the stratosphere. Your love is like a trampoline. When I start to come back down, I wanna land safely in your arms, in your arms, in your arms, baby. I try to imagine a life without your love, oh yeah. But your agony and your ecstasy, what I'm dreaming of. Oh, yeah. It's all good, even when it's bad. You're the best thing my life has ever had. Your love is like a trampoline. Every time that you are near, dancing in the stratosphere. Your love is like a trampoline. When I start to come back down, I wanna land safe in your arms. Your arms, baby. I won't stay with you, go with you, get high with you, get low with you, laugh with you, cry with you, live with you, die with you.
That was Trampoline by Scott Dorman. Again, I love that song. I don't know what to, yeah, it is. I don't know what to say about your music, but it's pretty inspiring and it's great stuff, and we miss having you right around the Fort Dodge area, but I can't believe you made the trip all the way from Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'll do it anytime.
Well, we are blessed to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Is there any way that, do you have a Facebook page, or how can people get a hold of you?
Yes, just look for Scott Dorman, SCOTTDORMAN. And I believe, now you said, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Music, all that stuff, that YouTube as well. I think most of my stuff is on there.
Right.
Free, you can listen to it, you know.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Well, that's great. I will make sure to share that information on our website, and you'll be able to see this on YouTube and many other platforms.
Cool.
It's a pleasure, Scott, having you in, and I just want to thank you again for making the trip, and hope things are all well with you. And what are your future plans?
You know, I've got to finish some stuff that I've got currently in the works, and put out some more music here. You know, hopefully I can get that done maybe this winter sometime.
Well, I'm counting on it. When you get those new releases, I'm going to interview you again, and we're going to get that stuff out. It's good stuff. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. I am your host, and I want to thank again Scott Dorman for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. The Indie Music Room is a production of FortDodgeRadio.com.